Any questions about an evacuation kit before we move to something else? Yes, please.
Could you go a little more into what would constitute important paper?
Important papers could be things like birth certificates, passports, other ID.
Insurance.
I do mine at my house. Yeah, I mean, everybody has a different risk threshold for those kinds of papers. I mean, if you're stuck out the hurricanes, you know that after a hurricane comes through and the power's out, it is hot, it is humid, and there's bugs everywhere because they get blown up from the swamps. So bug repellent's a really important thing. A manual can opener. Hands raised. Who here does not have a manual can opener in the house? Anybody want to admit it? Is there anybody here that doesn't have a manual can opener? Well, you guys are in great shape. See? You don't have to worry about it because it's already in your drawer. Duct tape. I always just say, think MacGyver here. There's always something you can do with duct tape. I've fixed cars with it before. I've fixed hoses. You can find, if you break a window, you can tape stuff up. You can tape a tarp. You can tape plastic over a broken window. We actually had a huge tree that was like this big around fall across our backyard, and the branches smacked into the window during the hurricane. Didn't break the window, but if it did, I would have been using my duct tape and some plastic to seal it up. First aid kit, again, one of those great things to have around the house. Flashlights, you want to have one per person in your kit. You want to have everybody so they can have some sort of way to have light with them. People ask me sometimes, what about candles? And I think candles are an interesting idea, but the problem with candles is that they can tip over and start a fire. And in the modern era, we have flashlights that are LED that last forever, and candles aren't a great idea because of that fire danger. A hammer. Why do I have the hammer on the list? This is for essentially if something bad happens to your home. If you've got a broken window, something falls onto your house, and you need to nail up some plastic sheeting or a tarp. So I'm just going to jump across my list here for just a second, and I want to talk about it. It's a good idea to have a tarp around. We had some friends that a tree fell, and just a branch went into their roof. So they had a hole in their roof that was essentially this big around. And they were able to get up there with the tarp, stuff it under some shingles, put a few nails in it, and it kept the rain from destroying their house in the interim. Another thing to have around is some plastic sheeting. Plastic sheeting does the exact same thing as a tarp, except for it's not as strong. The big difference is it's a lot bigger, so you have to cover a larger area. And then I'm going to skip forward also to tell you, if you're going to do all this stuff and you want to really prepare for it, you should get these special nails right here. These are called plastic roofing nails, and they're just a nail with a little plastic cap on it. And what it does is it keeps the plastic or the tarp underneath from ripping out as easy, because it has this big surface area to hold it down. So you pound it in, and it holds things in place. You're welcome to come up at the end of the presentation and steal as many of these as you want, in case you're interested in buying some for yourself. All right, so I went on my little tangent there. Let's get back to the main thing. So we talked about the large tarp and how important that is. A pair of leather gloves. During a hurricane or after a hurricane, you're probably going to be doing physical activities that you're not used to. It could be anything from just cleaning up brush in your front yard to chainsawing a tree off your neighbor's house. You never know what you might be doing. A good pair of leather gloves is a great thing to have around because most of us are just big wimps, right? I sit around at a desk all day long. My hands can't handle anything. Lighters are on there. Why, after I just said that candles were a bad idea to have lighters, because you may need a fire for some purpose. I have no idea. Lighting your gas stove. Yes, what?
Grill. Yeah, starting your grill.
Starting your grill up, that's exactly right. There may be some uses for lighters. And a pack like this is like $6. So you can stick that in your emergency kit and never have to think about it again. Rain gear's on there again. Plastic sheeting we've talked about. Special nails we talked about. Sunscreens, the same thing. It's hot and humid after a hurricane. Make sure you have something to cover your skin so you don't get burned really badly. Trash bags are a very important item on the list. Trash bags can be used for all sorts of stuff. And we'll talk about a couple of them later on. But they're just really handy to have around. If the power's out for a while and you don't have garbage to pick up, you're going to need a lot more places to store your trash. If you're used to having your trash picked up twice a week, it's not going to happen. We didn't have trash service for 3 weeks after the last hurricane.
Line your bucket.
Huh?
Line your bucket.
To use it to line your bucket. We're going to talk about that specifically in a few minutes, yes. But trash bags are great for lining your bucket, yes. Another thing that's I think is a great idea to throw in your kit is just a pair of tweezers, simple little tweezers. If you're out there picking up wood and stuff, you're going to get a lot of easy splinters. It's just a good thing to have around to make it so you're not miserable because you have a big splinter in your hand. The utility knife. It's a razor blade knife. You can get these at Home Depot or Walmart, wherever. And these are used for cutting plastic, cutting tarps, cutting rope. They're really, really sharp. You can use them to get stickers out of your hands too. They're just really sharp, so they're a good thing to have around because they use a razor blade. The next one on here is water purification tablets. Some people may think this is a little bit of an overkill, but you never know what services might be out. Yes, please.
That's the only reason I came tonight was for this right here.
The water pills.
Yeah.
You can have them.
No, well, I wanted to know. I mean, I store water. I think I have plenty. I've got a bunch of those water bobs.
Yeah.
But in case I have a swimming pool on either side of me and a lake down the street.
Yeah.
And I've got a whole bunch of neighbors that are probably going to rob me. So if I had water tablets,
Good neighborhood. Yeah.
then I could bargain. I'll give you some tablets if you'll give me some of your swimming pool water.
There you go.
But I want to know the best kind to buy. And I also ordered this out of Emergency Essentials because it said it was water purification.
Is that colloidal silver?
I don't know
colloidal
what to do with it. Nothing came with it.
Yeah, it actually is a water purifier. Silver is a water purifier that's been used for ages back. And colloidal silver is something that's sold now. You can add a little bit to your water and it will help purify it. It's not the recommended way to purify your water. I'll tell you, I think it's not a good idea. I don't think it does as good of a job as some other things that are out there. You can get these right here at Walmart. They're just Pullman water purification tablets.
Pullman?
This is Pullman. They're just a first line defense, though. This is not what you want to do for a long term. But if you notice, we're in the stage 1 here. This is talking about 3 to 4 days of survival. This isn't talking about a long period of time. If you just need to get a little bit of water for a short period of time, these are good, but they would get really expensive if you're talking about a couple weeks of stealing water out of your neighbor's pool.
Are those tablets?
These are tablets. Yeah, you can take a look at them. The water purification tablets is just the first line of defense. And we're going to talk a little bit tonight about water filters as well and other ways to purify water that work better. And then water storage. This guy right here is one of the best preparedness survival ideas I have ever heard of. It's called a water bob. And what it is it's a big honking bag that you stick in your bathtub and you fill it up with water when a hurricane's coming. It costs, I believe, $30. Is that correct?
Cheapest on Amazon. You can order them on Amazon. I just ordered 3 of them like 6 months ago.
All right.
It's really cool.
These are really cool. And the reason why they're really cool is, you always hear, the thing about when a storm's coming, fill up your tub. Well, drinking tub water is really disgusting, right? So you can actually fill this up and have clean water that you don't have to treat. And it's 50 gallons of water.
Cheaperthandirt.com has a really good price on it.
Cheaperthandirt.com.
They're up here in Dallas. It takes 2 days to get.
So that's another website you can check. In fact, cheaperthandirt.com is a great place to buy all sorts of survival stuff. You might write that down. But these are good ideas. Yeah.
Once you've filled it up, we were talking about would you want to use it again?
Personally, I don't think so because
No, you can't.
Yeah,
You have to split them open to get drained.
yeah, you got to drain it out.
You can't drain them?
Well, you could drain it and really try hard and put about an hour of work into it and then have it mold, or you could just throw it away, which is probably
We
the
were
better
thinking of putting
idea.
the hair dryer in there.
Yeah.
Dry.
Fortunately, we don't get enough hurricane events where it's going to bankrupt you to just go ahead and throw it in the trash.
They do make some that you can drain, but they're like 4 times that price, but
Yeah,
you
it's
can
not worth
reuse
it.
them.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, water bob is what it's called, and it's a great idea. All right, so this is our stage 1. This is what we think. This is what I call the first line of defense. This is what you want to get from the very get-go. So you have a few things on hand just in case. Is this the full exhaustive list of anything you might need? No. Is there stuff on here you may never, ever, ever use? Probably so. But it gives you that first line of defense in case you have an emergency situation. You have a few extra things set aside to help you through the problem. Do we have any questions or comments at this point? No? Okay, I'm just talking a million miles an hour here, so yes.
Can you get a price of water purification tablets?
The price of water purification tablets, I believe these ones are about $10. And they have enough for 25 quarts, which is 6 gallons of water. So it's not a very economical way to do it. There's much better ways to do it. We're going to get to those in just a few minutes. Anything else?
How much is the water box?
The water bob's $30. Yes.
Just for all the water questions, just throw a plug in for when you hold the water.
What?
The water class. Aren't you holding the water class?
Yeah, we usually have a water storage and purification class. That would be when?
September 25th.
That'll be
There
next
you go,
month.
next month.
That'll be our next month. We'll be talking all about water storage and purification. Yes, please.
The government
suggests that you store canned food that doesn't need water,
Yes.
so that you're not using your drinking water to reconstitute soup and things like that.
Yeah, thank you. So what she said is that the government recommends you store foods that do not need water to reconstitute. That way you're not using your drinking water in order to have food, and that's a great idea. Now, sometimes people ask me about why I don't have a bunch of food on here. And again, I'm assuming that you're in your own house. You have some food stores there that can get you through a few days. You got some extra Rice Krispies hanging around. Whether your refrigerator works or not, you can eat them. You have a few canned foods hanging around. You've got a manual can opener to open them. You have just a basic supply of stuff in your house that will provide for the rest of the things that aren't on this list. Any other questions? All right. Let's go to stage 2 then. And stage 2, oh, and if you look, by the way, at the bottom of the table, I have an approximate cost of everything that's on this list. And it's $250. We'll get you everything that's on the table right here that we've talked about today, except for reindeer. We won't get you that. So stage 2 is more of a little bit of a longer-term focus. It's more about what you can do to get through a couple weeks. And if you've lived through the past couple of weeks, it's about 2 weeks that we lived without power through the last couple. The first thing I added to this list was baby wipes. Why baby wipes? If you haven't had a baby in a while, you've probably forgotten. But baby wipes can do almost anything. You can build houses out of baby wipes. They really are handy. Look, sanitation is going to be a problem without electricity. Without, maybe your water goes down too. So baby wipes are just a great way to be able to keep things clean and wiped up. They're good to keeping the flies off if you have to. But taking care of your kids or other people, they're just a great idea. Batteries, just wanted to emphasize how important it is if you're living off flashlights and everybody in the house has got one. It's good to have an extra pack around. And, these things will last for a couple of years in this little bag just like this without going dead. Please.
And it does make a difference on we bought a bunch of Sam's Club batteries.
Oh, yeah.
We threw them like
nothing.
Yeah. M&Ms.
Plus they blow up. The cheap batteries blow up. You leave them sitting somewhere for a year and the acid starts eating through the shell. So go ahead and splurge on the $12 pack of batteries, please.
If you take your batteries and you put them in plastic bags and you find a place in your refrigerator to put them, once you put them in your refrigerator, what you've done is you've just stopped the date. And you can add however much time you've had it in there. And the expiration date.
Yeah, the cool helps the batteries. All right? All right. This is what you came for right here. I can't remember your name. This is the Janine?
Yeah.
This is what you came for right
Okay,
here.
okay.
This is the most important thing that you're going to want to hear about tonight is bleach. Gallon of household non-scented bleach will treat, I think it's 38,000 gallons or 3,800, I can't remember which, gallons of water and make it safe for you to drink. Okay, bleach. How do you use bleach to purify water? You put 8 drops per gallon of water if it's clear, or 16 drops per gallon if it's not clear. Well, everybody has a dropper sitting around, right? So let me put that in terms you can use. A half a teaspoon of bleach will clean 5 gallons of water if the water's clear. If the water's muddy or nasty or, kind of has some yuck stuff from a pond, double it. So 1 teaspoon for 5 gallons of water. You put it in there, shake it around a little, let it sit for 30 minutes. You've got water that you can use to sustain life. And this is the cheapest way to do it. It's,
Will it taste like?
It'll taste just like bleach water. Yeah. It'll be a little stronger than you're used to if you have city water, and it'll taste a little bit like pool water. It really will. But if we're talking about sustaining life here, yes, please.
Too much bleach won't hurt you either.
Yeah. Well, unless you go really crazy. Yeah.
If you're worried about putting too little, putting a little more than what you think is fine.
That's right. If you put a tablespoon for 5 gallons instead of a teaspoon, you wouldn't die.
And Kool-Aid covers a multitude of sins.
Kool-Aid, Crystal Light, all that stuff makes the flavor way better, please.
That's why you want your 5-gallon bucket, so you can have your water.
Yeah.
Put your half a teaspoon of chlorine in the bucket. Take the other 5-gallon bucket, drop the water in it, that mixes it for you, and let it set for 24 hours, and you won't need Kool-Aid, and it won't look like chlorine.
Yeah, because the chlorine does end up kind of, what's the word, evaporating dissipating off over time if you leave it in an open container.
Is it half a teaspoon per 5 gallons?
Yes, please. Or if it's cloudy water, double it. exactly right. I actually did a class once where I brought some pond water from a pond in my neighborhood and did it, put it in there, let it sit, and drank it. It was the nastiest stuff ever, but I did not die and I did not get sick, so I guess it worked out good.
Bleach has a shelf life, so you want to rotate it through with your laundry. Like, say, take your preps and after 6 or 8 months, take that and put it in your laundry room, use it, and get new for your preps.
I believe it loses about 50% per year of its effectiveness. So don't keep your one bleach bottle for 5 years. If it's been a year, put it into your laundry rotation, get a new bottle, or just keep doing it that way. Have 2 bottles on hand, and just go through one in your laundry, and then go to the next one, buy a new bottle, and replace it. Please.
How about those giant water gallons that we don't have in the backyard? Those giant.
The 55-gallon drums.
They say the longer they sit, the cleaner they are, and you don't have to treat it?
No, that's totally incorrect. Yeah, you should change the water out of those once a year. Now you can go 2 years, but you really should do it once a year. So like my dad, it's Christmas time. He's off from work for a week. That week he changes his water every single year. You drain it out, you fill it back up, and you put your half a cup. I think it's about a half a cup of bleach for 55 gallons. Anybody knows differently? Half of a cup of bleach for 55 gallons.
That's real different from what they tell us about drinking it.
Oh, no, that's a bad idea because it will actually grow fungus and algae inside of it. So you definitely want to put bleach. Definitely want to put bleach in there. Yeah.
Right, but then you don't have to do it again with about drinking it.
Yeah, you don't have to do it again when you drink it. Please, David.
So I've got 275-gallon totes in my backyard covered with plastic, and I've got 4 55-gallon drums. Okay. The 55-gallon drums have been sitting there for 5 years. The totes have been there for a year. None of them have any algae in them. I don't ever rotate the water, and I didn't add anything to it. Okay. If it comes out of a garden hose, it's already got the chlorine in it, and it's good. So just another. It depends on your comfort level.
Yeah, depends on your comfort level and who you're reading, right? So you probably have read somebody different than I've read or looked at. So there's a lot of information out there that can be different.
It wasn't what I read; it's what I tried.
What you tried. Okay. My comfort level is not that. I drain mine once a year. Please.
Just to add to that, if you're going to fill up something with water and you think, oh, pure water is going to be better, you want to filter it, don't, because the city water with all the things that are in it will keep better. Yeah.
Yeah, it already has bleach to it.
The hose water.
Thank you very much.
Also, just to help illustrate, like what David was saying versus what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you have a 55-gallon drum sitting outside in the sun as opposed to sitting in a garage where the sun never hits it or anything like that, that also, everything, heat, UV, everything has a difference.
Yeah.
So it's all about the environment.
It's better to have it out of the UV light, in my opinion, because the UV is going to break down the plastic. It's going to break down plastic, might get in the water. But, if you're going to get, my personal opinion on barrels, I don't want to get too far off of the water thing here, but if you're going to get barrels, get the blue ones if you're going to have them outside because they stand up to the UV light much, much better. I've had both kinds. The white ones have brought it down on me a lot faster than the blue ones over time. Please.
RV hose.
Yeah, you get an RV hose instead of a regular hose. Regular hose makes your water taste nasty. That's all you got, use it. But otherwise, you can get an RV hose that won't make your water taste nasty when you fill it up. Next month is our water class. We will have tons of information on water. All right, where were we?
Camp stove.
Camp stove. This is one of the next things. If people ask me, Joe, what's the first thing I should buy? This is in my top 5 list right here. And it's just a Coleman camp stove. Why? Now, if you've got natural gas at your house and your stove doesn't require electricity, you probably don't need one of these. You can turn the gas on and light it with a lighter. If you don't, one of these little Coleman stoves is one of the most efficient ways for you to be able to make hot food for your family. They have these little small burners. You can put a pot of water, a pot of food. You can put a can on it, and it will heat it up very economically. The one key thing I like to tell people is this hose right here. You can get this hose at Academy for like $12, and it is a hose that will allow you to hook this little tiny Coleman stove into one of those big propane cylinders. So you know the little green ones that they screw in normally? Much better idea to go get one big white one and get the hose that allows it to connect in. I have a friend who was good friends with someone who was homeless for some period of time, and she said that she cooked one hot meal per day for 6 months for herself with one tank of propane on one of these stoves right here. I've never tested it. I welcome you to do so. But it is a very, very economical way to be able to heat up some water or heat up some food for your family very cheaply. The stoves cost around